a presentation this morning, early, 7 a.m.
Yeah.
I spent the entire day organizing and working on the nano business, I call it, okay? And so, yeah, I've got a lot of work done today. I am tired now. I'm exhausted.
Are you? Yeah.
Yeah. But I got through a lot and organized a lot. And, you know, they, between Majestic CEO and myself, we sorted out, or they sorted out Majestics, and they gave me an account and started from scratch, from fresh. So now I've been working, looking at that, and as I'm working, strategizing and thinking, right, you know what it is with a database. You know, basically you've got different options. You know, you've got a contact status, so you start everybody off on null. That's in your database. You know, on neutral, their option is neutral. Yeah. Okay, and then you can add as many contact statuses as you want. So you now think, right, they're going to click on a link somewhere, maybe go to my website and read an article, and so on, you know. And so sorting all that out and sending the first email that went out today as well, just to get the database going again, because it's been a little dormant for a little while. So I'm not sure if you're actually on my database.
There was an email there from you. I haven't read it yet.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay. Yeah, it was just, you know, part of getting the whole thing going, because it had been dormant for a few weeks and problems. And I've also had to go through my website, because a lot of my articles had links to various places, and they were linked in the old database, and so each one just went blank, so nobody could get through with the links. So and there are a lot of articles. I think there must be close to 100 articles on my website.
Wow.
So what I've decided to do is just start again, as it were, find a relevant article for here and now, and rewrite it, modify it, and take out all the bad links and so on. And so I did that today. I did my first article and first link, and so yeah. So yeah, that's what I've been doing the entire day. And yeah. And so did you go to work today?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And the other group of people that got COVID at the same time as you at your work, are they?
Different impacts on different people. Some of them have had some fairly severe after effects, like kidney infections and stuff like that. But so far, all good in that regard. Others, you know, a lot of fatigue and, you know, those sorts of characteristics. But it's just a case of just trying to recover as quickly as possible. You know, as just, you know, good diet and exercise and all the things that make a difference. You know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing, and drinking lots of water and lots of tea during the day. So
right, yeah.
But anyway, we'll get there.
Yeah, no doubt. What's your weather been like?
It's quite cold here at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. You had some rain last week, didn't you? Again.
Last week there was raining, yeah. But it's just like well, they're calling it a polar blast, you know, so it's quite cold in the morning and a bit windy, you know, so, yeah.
Okay, is that what you call it, polar blast?
Yeah.
I get up freezing here in the mornings. To me, it's just freezing.
Yeah, well, that's what the weather people are calling it, a polar blast. They're saying that there's this big weather system come up from Antarctica or something. So Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
I haven't heard it on our side, on our weather people. I guess we get different weather people to you.
Yeah.
Uh,
But anyway, it is winter time, so it's allowed to be cold, I guess, isn't it?
yeah, you're quite right. And the one thing with cold is, you can put on a cotton vest and a cotton shirt and a cotton jersey and
Another blanket or whatever, So yeah, you're right.
whatever. Yeah.
Mm.
And
I actually don't mind the cold myself.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I actually don't either. It's the heat the excessive heat that I really do not enjoy.
That high humidity and that sort of stuff, I just struggle with that, I must admit. But anyway.
We're fortunate we don't get high humidity. We just get high dry.
Yeah. Just winds off the desert.
Yeah. And when your average days in summer are sort of over 40, it's hectic.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when you get days and days and days in a row of it, It's just no relief.
Absolutely. And of course, we don't get rain here in the summer either.
Yeah.
So it's myself and my garden seem to just die in summer. Doesn't matter how much you water it.
So how are you getting on with your doctors and stuff? Is that all still rolling along, or is that?
Yeah, I had a chat to the GP. I pushed them, and just one of the things that really frustrates me here in I don't know whether it's the same all over Australia, but doctors are only in it for the money. Okay, you speak to them, they charge you a full consultation fee, even if you only spoke for 3 minutes. Okay, I mean that is ridiculous. In South Africa, it never ever happened. I mean, the doctor would phone you and ask you how you are, even. Too old-fashioned for these doctors in Perth. My goodness me. So anyway. The conversation that I insisted on actually having is I want, I had a CT scan done many weeks ago, and I wanted to know the outcome of that. And her reply was, "Oh, it was the same as the previous the other scan, with the."
The ultrasound. Yeah.
The ultrasound scan. Yeah, same as the ultrasound scan. You've got severe blockages. Okay. I thought, yeah, okay. So I said, I've done a couple of changes in my life. Like I've gone on to totally plant-based eating, and before I could finish talking, she said, "That won't help. You need an operation." That won't help. You'll need an operation. Okay, and so I said, "But you didn't order the CT scan." I said, "The surgeon in the hospital ordered the CT scan." Okay, and he said he would make contact with me. He said, "I'll send you to a private hospital, and you will get a surgeon there the same day." I said, "But I don't have the money for a private hospital. Okay, as it is, I've got to pay for the public hospital as well. But I would assume from the type of invoices I've been getting, it's not as bad as what a public hospital would be." So, and she said, "Oh well, I'll refer you to the public hospital, and but it'll take a little while before they make contact with you." So I thought, here's a scan. Okay, they won't look at the scan, according to her, for a few months. Okay, what happens if it's urgent? Okay, she's saying I must have she doesn't say it's urgent. She just says the only way you're going to solve this is to have an operation, and the sooner the better. Okay, so I said, well, let's get I think it's logical to get the opinion of the surgeon. Okay?
But she didn't contact you. You had to contact her.
Yes, I had to contact her. Yeah.
So the sooner the better. But
Yeah.
don't bother talking to me about it.
Yeah. And as I say, we spoke for a few minutes, and I immediately get a phone call after that from the reception. Would I like to pay over the phone now? I said, no. You're going to charge me for those few minutes I've just spoken to the doctor? She said, yes. That was it. I said, well, then send me an invoice on my email address you've got. Okay. And then I phoned the hospital and wasn't quite sure, because I said to the GP when I spoke to her in those few minutes, I said, you say you've got a report from the hospital on the CT scan? Okay, yes. I said, what is the name of the surgeon that's been referenced on that report? And she said, well, I know there's a surgeon so-and-so, and is there a surgeon so? I said, is that on the report? Now I'm getting frustrated, okay? She said, no, there isn't a surgeon's name on the report. So, I had my doubts whether she had a report in front of her.
Yeah, she wouldn't have done.
Okay, and so anyway, I put the phone down and I phoned the hospital. It's a big hospital over the Fiona Stanley, and anyway, I asked, didn't know what to ask for, who to ask for, but anyway, I got through to somebody who was very kind and tolerant, as the experience I'd had when I went for the CT scan the second time. And so I explained my predicament, and he had a look, and he said, you'd need a referral from your doctor for a surgeon to see you and discuss your scan. Okay, I said, okay, that's fine. So I phoned again to the GP and said, please send a referral to the hospital, because, okay. And then while I was talking to the hospital, I said, now, how long is this going to take? He said, very, very difficult to say. We've got a big backlog. Favorite comment. And so a big backlog, okay. Tell me, what would that mean? So anything from 4 to 6 months. I said, okay, now I know. Okay. So that's the update. Some of which I think I told you probably before, but it's just really frustrating. And but I'm very clear in my mind now that I'm taking action. Okay, onto a plant-based diet. I've done quite a lot of research up until yesterday, basically, of the really serious doctors who have themselves been on plant-based diet, and then yesterday I thought, well, I can't go researching all of them about opinions and so on. I really need to focus on one. So yesterday I decided to settle on Dr. Michael Greger, and I thought, okay, so because he does most of his communication, okay, in short videos, okay, anything from 3 minutes to probably 7 minutes max, okay, and so you search on his site and you by word like diabetes, okay, and then it brings up every video that's got diabetes in it, okay? And so it's very efficient, very modern. And so I've decided I'm going to, because, Don and I, this going on a plant-based, because you were also talking about it. I did a class, I've done 2 classes so far. but certainly the first one was very vague. The second one was this past week, and while I was doing it, I had a lot of people interested, quite a large number, and then I did the class as the notes I'd made and researched for myself, okay, and yeah, added in a short video from Dr. Neil Barnard, who was talking about, how to start with a plant-based diet. And so I just showed them a clip from that video. But having finished that, I thought to myself, this moving across, knowing why you're moving across to a plant-based diet, okay? Because I emphasized that, okay? And then, as I was talking in the class, it was like I was educating myself. You know what I mean? It was, I'd researched this, I'd done all this, okay? And I started off the class, okay? You're going to be impressed, okay? I started off the class with a paragraph from Sadhguru.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Because when I came across that in my research, in just general Googling, he came up with this one. And it really made so much sense. So I actually started my class off with the concept. I didn't quote him or anything like that. I didn't use necessarily his words, but 100% his concept. And his concept was, okay, your body knows what food it wants. Okay. He says your mind does not know. Your mind plays stupid games with you, okay? And today it will tell you to have this diet, and tomorrow it will say you're stupid because you took that. You must have now this diet. He says you've got to leave the mind out of it. And what you've got to do, you've got to eat some food and give your body an hour or two and see how your body reacts. If you are energetic, feeling good and happy, then your body likes that food, okay? Then you carry on in the future eating that food. He said if you've got a tummy ache or you lethargic, and he actually says if you've got to resort to nicotine or alcohol or something to keep your energy going, or coffee, he said, then your body doesn't like it. Okay. And I thought, wow, okay. So I started my class with that. And so I'm also now, everything I put in my mouth, okay, I check it out. Because as I went on in the class to say, and that was a Michael thing, this one is, why are you going on a plant-based diet? Why? You must ask yourself. Okay, is it for philosophical reasons or sustainable planetary reasons, or is it because you have an illness? Okay, and I said the approaches are all different. Okay, and I said I had two issues. Okay, and the plants tend to, in a way, contradict them. If you look for certain plants. So I've got, high blood sugars, and I've got a blocked artery. Okay, and so some of the best plants to take for a blocked artery are some of the worst to take for high blood sugars if you've got diabetes. So it's interesting. So the reason people must know why they want a plant-based diet, not just because they think it's good or they think it's healthier. No. You see, what happens when you gain on it because you think it's healthier, which it is, there's no doubt it is, okay, is that you are casual about it, okay? So if you're casual about it, and so that means your disease will be casual as well. You know, you'll just get diabetes, and you know, instead of cutting off your whole foot, it'll cut off your toes when your diabetes, you know, sets gangrene into your toes. Okay, or you'll have a heart attack, you know, casually because you know you're just taking things slowly and you're approaching it casually. And those are concepts from Dr. Michael Greger. Okay, I picked that up and I thought, you know, he is that sentence of if you approach things gradually, then you will gradually get sick. Okay, and it won't stop you getting sick, because you're thinking, or you've introduced some more plants. Okay, he says that's you know, if you're not sick, fine, then that's a different approach. If your why is, well, you think it's healthier, first find out why it's healthier.
Yeah. What are your specific needs?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, then have a look at how it's going to unfold for you. Okay, but he says, as long as you're putting meat in your mouth, okay, you're going to have the same diseases that meat eaters have. Okay, even though you're eating 80% plants. Okay, and then he said, if you're casual about it, then you will find that you might stop eating meat, okay, and you give yourself a clap, you know, I don't eat meat anymore, and you boast about it and whatever, okay, but what are you eating in place of meat? Okay, eating white bread sandwiches, okay, eating white bread and marmalade, white bread and jam, and you're eating pies, veggie pies, and maybe you go to McDonald's and have whatever, okay, that's non-meat. But that's not a plant-based diet, okay? You're trying to, you're saying, you know, you think that's a vegan, okay? You know, a vegan is you don't eat meat, you don't eat dairy, full stop, now, and you're not. But what are you eating? That's the important thing, you know? And so I incorporated all that into the class, and I'm very aware of it now. And so I'm also, because of what I heard yesterday from Greger, was, you know, find out whether a particular food for you and your genes, okay, is going to spike your blood sugars, okay? Because you don't want to spike your blood sugars, okay? Because whatever you eat is going to increase your blood sugars, but you don't want it spiked within an hour. Okay? Okay? You want it to raise gradually, maybe over a few hours. Your body digests it, and then after that, you know, your blood sugar comes back to rest. And so since last night, I've been doing that. Before I put something in my mouth, I take my blood sugar. An hour later, I take my blood sugar again. And just to see, because of you know, the diabetes, until you start really rotting, you don't know that you can be very casual with it. And that's what the pharmaceuticals do. They take away the symptoms, and they artificially keep the blood sugars at a level, but not officially. Okay? They're not. Okay, so yeah, so the plant-based diet is a serious change in lifestyle. I don't use the word diet now in my classes, and I try not to use it on my day-to-day. So I talk about a plant-based lifestyle.
Mm.
Okay. And I'm very clear now why I'm doing it. Okay. I'm doing it to keep my blood sugar levels down, and I'm doing it to heal what the doctor says, and the doctors online say can't be healed. Okay. And the interesting thing with Dr. Greger is he shows scientifically that it's very difficult if you're at a very advanced blocked artery for the body to heal that. Okay. He says it could be 5 or 6 years, and there could be an improvement. Okay. But he said what you are doing from 5 or 6 weeks, okay, is you're avoiding adding to that blockage.
Adding to it, yeah. So you're turning the corner.
Yeah. So what's happened is your blood's going to find its way to where it's going to go, and you'll still have the pain, but the future is you'll just have what you've got, and it'll slowly diminish, but you won't get any more, and it won't get worse, and you won't get a heart attack, okay, because of the blockage coming loose or whatever, okay. So I thought, okay, to me, that makes sense, because it correlates with what the ordinary doctors are saying online, that you can't get rid of it, okay? Even pharmaceutically, unless you have surgery, okay, you can't get rid of it, even with pills, okay? So I thought, okay, that's fine. Okay, now I know where I'm going, and I know that slowly, the old one will go away, but more importantly, there's not going to be any new. Okay? And so, yeah, that's important. So what's also important is to make sure that the blood sugars are at an acceptable level, sort of throughout your life. Okay. But if which they have been, progressively quite high throughout my life, because I had a look at this is it here. I had a look at my first entry in this book, and it was 2018. Okay, and I've been recording in this book every year. Every year, virtually every day, but not quite. Okay, but certainly every month of every year. And so I can see trends. I can see what I was eating, what I wasn't eating, and also understanding, when is the right time to take your blood sugar. So those are all under control. I'm now looking at which foods are going to work, that my body feels good about, and follow also which foods he recommends one eats. Okay, and so then see if those foods work with me. Okay. So it's not just about not eating meat or dairy.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it?
It's very interesting.
But it makes entire sense, though. So yeah.
It does make sense, you see. But up until 3 days ago, 2 days ago, whenever I spoke to the doctor, it doesn't matter, just the last few days ago, I was getting so confused. I was getting fed up. I was getting thinking, here I've been following Dr. Gundry, Dr. X, and Dr. this and that, and for years, okay. And their diet gave me a blocked artery. Okay. And I thought I was really being healthy. And I was controlling my blood sugars, okay, with their advice and so on, and their diets and so on. But nowhere were they telling me that there are consequences
Yeah.
for a high-fat, high-protein diet, which they talk about.
Mm. Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
So, yeah, interesting. This moving forward. So
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Mm. I think there's a lot more to, and I agree with your decision about not using the word diet too. I think that's entirely appropriate. But I think there's a lot more to, like, mindful eating, if you want to call it that, than we give it credit for too. You know, I was reading somewhere the other day, and it was sort of saying that if you eat mindfully, and I always sort of thought, well, what does that mean? But it's just that, back to that issue of raising your awareness. And they say that if you eat while you're doing other things, or while you're distracted or whatever, that they estimate that you're only experiencing, consciously experiencing, about 10% of the flavors of the food that you put in your mouth.
Yeah.
Whereas if
Yeah.
you develop your awareness around eating, then you know, you can experience, you know, 90% or even 100% of the actual flavors of the food that you're eating. You know, so
Absolutely. I absolutely concur with that. I
mm,
prefer the word awareness than
mm,
mindfulness.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Because that the mindfulness can bring up connotations of perhaps what Sadhguru was saying, you know,
mm,
don't use your mind to decide what to
yeah.
eat.
That's
Okay.
true. Yeah, no, that's true.
So,
Yeah.
but I know what you mean. I
Mm,
just can't think of another word. It's, you know, it's like you can use the same word when we come up with it
mm,
for when you walking in the forest. Okay,
yeah, yeah,
you know, look at the flowers
yeah,
and ponder them
yeah.
uh, and enjoy them,
Mm.
and you know, and
Exit.
rush past them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very much so. Yeah.
yeah. And same with the eating.
Mm,
Chew slowly,
mm,
well,
mm,
and because you are chewing slowly and well,
mm,
okay, you're going to the benefits that you mentioned.
mm.
Um,
Well, it's almost eating with a sense of inquiry or curiosity, isn't it? You know, to seek
yeah,
out the flavors and, you know, the textures and all of those sort of things. You know, so
yeah, yeah, yeah,
mm,
yeah, um, yeah, yeah. Then, you know, come the other things, the more non-physical
mm.
foods. You
I
know,
think it really is maybe an accentuated disease of the age in which we live too. You know, this constant busyness and this constant chatter, and, you know, because
and quick eating. Yeah,
well, there was that, but that was sort of like the other associated issues were that they just talked about um, idle talk and the consequences of idle talk as well. You know, that it can bring up, you know, emotions maybe below the conscious level. You know, so, you know, you start talking about, even if it's like humor, the underlying emotion could be desire, you know, to raise your status, or, you know, be better than someone else. You know, someone's having an unfortunate time, which you think is funny, but what's the underlying emotion under that, you know? And if you're constantly feeding those underlying emotions, then that too has consequences, you know, just as the food that you put in your mouth, it has consequences, you know. So
yeah, absolutely,
mm,
absolutely.
mm, mm,
As do the, you know, the other energy fields that are in one's home. Okay,
mm,
you know,
mm,
the Wi-Fi's and the 4Gs and the 5Gs
mm, mm,
as well, you know,
mm.
and all these things that are giving off, you know, the
It,
television, the blue
all
light.
of that thing, yeah, exactly right. You know, all that environmental radiation almost, isn't it? You know,
It
so
is, yeah,
mm,
yeah,
mm,
yeah. And then even how you cook your food,
mm,
okay,
mm,
um, you know, is also part of the thing that you must become aware.
mm,
Or your word, mindful about.
And that extends back out, like even how you prepare and cook your food, how you grow your food, how you treat the food, all of those things are very important, aren't they? So,
Yeah, and also being aware
mm,
of, if you're not going to grow your own food, being aware of the people who are growing
mm,
or the food that you are eating.
mm,
Okay, know something about these organic farmers.
mm,
Okay,
mm,
how serious are they? And these days you can find out, because you don't have to visit the farm. I mean, that would be beautiful if you could.
mm,
Okay, but certainly you can find out by going to their websites and seeing what they write about,
mm,
and the videos and things that they have about the way they do
mm,
things, and also
mm,
how they do. They'll tell you how they're doing things there.
mm,
Okay,
mm,
and if they don't, then you move on.
mm,
Uh,
mm,
so we've increased the volume of organic food now almost to 100% of what we eat now.
mm,
Okay, we came across a co-op
mm,
called the Little Big Shop.
mm,
Okay, and they from fresh grown things to all the organic pastes and organic everything, and then they've also got a section for vegan as well. So there's straight organic that would be whatever it is, but then there's also the vegan side of it, and all the alternative milk, alternatives to dairy milk. Yeah. Um, so they have quite a large range of things, but because it's organic and it comes and it goes, often they're out of stock of something. Okay, it's not as if they stock up, because they get in from their farmers and their manufacturers. Okay, you look like you're frozen. Can you hear me? No, you can't. Hello, can you hear me? Type if you can. You can't.